Many people prefer to live in a big city with more things to do and with more excitement. I'm here to tell you why living in a small town is the way to go. Being that I live in a small town makes me know a few more things about it than actually living in a big city. But I'm going to do my best to explain why living in a small town is better. All the time I hear comments like, "It's so boring here," or "There's nothing to do," when in reality there is so much more to a small town living than what anyone would think. One major thing that people would more than likely think of first is that there's less crime. Well, yes, there is crime everywhere, of course, but in a small town, more people know each other, and they are less likely to act in delinquent ways to people that they are comfortable with or that they know really well. Fortunately, knowing people pretty well happens really easily in a small town. In Chicago last year, there were over 40 murders, according to ABC7news.com. This year, in February alone, there was 160 shootings. Another reason for less crime is that there's less surface area in the town itself for criminals to act on. There are fewer things to vandalize, like big buildings. Another good thing about a smaller surface area is that the criminal is less likely to get away. There is less places for them to hide, and police know the area very well because of its size. Also, sometimes living in a large city brings out stress and anxiety of some people, causing them to crack. Less traffic is also a great thing about living in a small town. There is no wondering about daily, morning, lunch, or evening rush hours, or the constant anxiety of wondering what time to leave to make it somewhere on time. Less traffic means that it's more of a safe traveling experience. Yes, accidents do happen everywhere, but without all the commotion of stressful traffic, it makes it less likely. Small towns have a sense of community. A big city may have small or multiple communities, like in churches or schools, but in a small town, the whole town has a strong community together. All work together to stop problems going on. They can really focus on the issue because such a small population. Along with community comes pride and being proud to live where you do, because it's so homey. Small towns have several things to do that don't even cost anything. Some things include fishing from ponds or small lakes, public beach access, bonfires, and gatherings, etc. While researching for other people's opinions on living in small towns compared to big cities, I found on smalltownguide.com it brought up many good points like less pollution because of less trucks and industry, and interesting points about that small towns have better manners in children and young adults, because those are raised in big cities have a fast-paced life that leads to children without as much parent contact in teaching them manners. Smalltownguide.com also says that crime has reportedly been 50 to 80% less in small towns rather than big cities. This website also makes a great point when it talks about parents not being so worried when it comes to their kids playing outside. I know if I had kids in a big city, I wouldn't let them outside alone. Small towns also have less noise. With less noise, it makes it really easy to enjoy things outdoors. You can have gatherings right in your backyard with a lot more privacy and peace. There isn't the noise of traffic sirens, which seems like every few minutes in a big city. Small towns are very neighborly. You can make close friends with your neighbors and have trust in them almost like a family member. A lot of neighbors in small towns look after each other and their property. In a big city, there are a lot of apartments and people always moving in and out, and it's hard to really trust and get to know someone to make a lifetime friend. In a small town, it's more likely that you have a bigger yard and you're not restricted by inner city limits. For example, if you're into guns and target practice, you can shoot them or even go hunting. You can also have more animals. City living restricts people from having multiple animals or pets. For example, it is not right to have a bigger dog in an apartment or even a house with a small yard where they can't run daily without having to take them to a dog park. With that being said, it's easier to have more than just one dog if that's what you would want. You can also raise farm animals in a small town, like pigs or chickens. It would be pretty hard to do that in an inner city. An obvious reason for living in a small town is less people. It's really nice to just be in a secluded area and not be mixed in with a ton of people all the time. Several people who are listening to this or reading this speech probably haven't heard of the town of Westville, Indiana, or maybe Union Mills, Indiana. I'm sure everyone has heard of Indianapolis or Chicago. Just because small town names aren't known doesn't mean that they have any less to offer. Your friends and family all live close. Teachers at schools really know who you are, and there are countless perks of living in a small town. Plus, living in a small town makes visiting somewhere like Chicago or Indianapolis a really fun and exciting experience. If it's up to you and you are looking around to move and have to consider either a big city or a small town, I hope this speech helped to persuade you to choose a small town. There are ups and downs to every city or town, but if it were up to me, small town living would be the way to go.